All right, welcome back, everybody. Today I've got a Pietta single action army. This one was imported by Dixie Gunworks. I don't know if you can see that on the bottom there. If you can't, there you go. Got picked this gun up about 6 or 7 years ago. It's a nickel finish and it has the base pin screw release, the easy one from the later, like 1896 and later models, which is very convenient. This one's chambered in 45 Colt with the 7.5-inch barrel. And for those of you that need to see, the gun is empty. Not real big on nickel guns, but you know, who doesn't like a single action army in nickel anyway, right? I mean, I've been looking at this gun on Dixie Gunworks website back in the day for quite a bit, and I finally decided to bite the bullet on it. I didn't know much about the Piettas other than in the past on their cap and ball revolvers. I always knew they were a little, to me, they were always a little wonky looking compared to the U-Birdies, so I always kind of steered away from them. But I had been reading some good things about Pietta single action armies, Peacemakers recently, and I thought that I would give it a try. So I called up Dixie Gunworks and I paid for it over the phone, had it shipped to my FFL. The gun has later features. It does have a U-notch rear sight. Not a U-notch, but a square notch, which is very nice. It's much better than the first model. Pinch frame by far. It does have I wish the front sight was a little less thick, but it's pretty good. It's a lot better sight picture than a lot of the single actions that I've got because of that U-notch. It's got some decent checkering on the hammer. I'd say a little bit better than some of the U-Birdies I've seen. It's got some import marks and proof marks and stuff on it. It doesn't have the patent dates on it like a lot of the U-Birdies do. It's probably missing some of the little tiny details. But the gun is nice. I mean, for what I paid for it, the nickel is it's okay to like a little bit better than okay. I mean, it's not like, you know, Colt nickeling, but it's not bad. You know, you get what you pay for, right? So I wasn't overly upset or even disappointed in the nickel plating at all on this gun. I thought it was pretty decent. You can see some of the tool marks and the reflections. There's some scratches on it. I mean, I've shot this gun quite a bit. It's a nice gun. The trigger guard is a little bit more rounded shape than the U-Birdies. If you notice, it's more rounded. Doesn't have the U-Birdies kind of square. And I've noticed that the early first generation Colts are more like the U-Birdie, and there's a few of the late first gen Colts that I've seen that have the more rounded trigger guard, probably from the very early 1900 or before like 1910ish. I've seen a few that were touted to be original that had this a little more rounded trigger guard on them. I don't know what the story is on them, if there even is a story, but it's just something I've noticed. A couple observations of this gun right out of the box when I got it. It is one of the smoothest single actions reproductions that I have ever bought. There's no comparison in the action between these two guns. This is the U-Birdie. The U-Birdie is okay. It's semi-smooth, but this thing is on a whole nother level. Everything on it is slick. Timing on it's pretty damn good. The only complaint I had about this gun when I got it was the bolt did not perfectly fit in one of the bolt stops, and I could turn the cylinder if I applied enough pressure off of when it was locked, and it was only in one bolt stop. I took the bolt out of the gun and just run it on some very, very fine sandpaper, just to maybe took 1/1000th off of it, and then it worked perfect after that, and the gun has been flawless. So that's one thing I would check on them. But these Italian imports, I gotta say, I'm sure a lot of people get good ones and they're perfect out of the box. I just seem to have bad luck where there's always something that I have to tinker with. I'm hoping it's just me, but I find it odd that I would have such bad luck. So I'm assuming that either a lot of people don't notice those things and they just shoot them and they're fine anyway, or I don't know. All I know is that I always have to tinker a little bit. And this gun here, I really like this gun. I never was a huge fan for authenticity reasons of the transverse latch, but it is nice, and it's still a vintage feature. I mean, it's just a little bit later. You know, it came out around 1896, I believe, that they switched over to this. I had the grips that came on it were white PVC. They didn't look bad, but I mean, they looked like white PVC. So about a year or so ago, I had sent this off to have River Junction Trade Company put some Colt Eagle grips on it. I know the Eagle grips are probably not correct to the transverse latch. I believe it's supposed to have the same grips without the Eagle on them, but they didn't have a set of non-Eagle black grips that fit perfect to my grip frame. They were, I guess, a little short by 1/16 of an inch, but they said that the earlier first gen ones with the Eagle would fit, and I said go ahead and put them on. They did a good job fitting these grips. I mean, they fit really nice. There's some gaps, you know, in between the metal and the grip, which you're going to get on any U-birdie that I've had has always got a little bit of it. But I had to do some tweaking with the pin. That they had to drill a hole and put a pin in them to get, you know, because that's the way the originals were. It still needs some fine-tune adjustments, but the grips look nice, and they really complement the nickel. I think they look a hell of a lot better than the white PVC grips. Dixie still shows this gun on their website, although I think it's $100 or $150 more than it was when I paid for it. If you have any doubts about a Pietta, I would not have any. Matter of fact, I would be, if I was looking for another single action army, I would probably lean towards a Pietta just because of how nice I thought this one was. I really like the U-birdies, but it's nice that there's another company out making these, a little competition. Maybe people step up their game a little bit. And Pietta's got a couple models out right now that I really like. Muldrum or whatever, it's a 4 3/4 inch barrel with a black powder frame and has some engraving on it. It's a really pretty looking gun. It runs about $1,000 and it's probably laser engraving, but it's a nice looking gun. Anyway, Pietta's got some nice stuff. I would not shy away from them at all. And as far as the action goes, beautiful action on them. At least this one anyway. 45 Colt. This one's chambered in. I have shot, trying to think, I know I've shot some red dot smokeless rounds with the Ideal 190 bullet and my NEI 230 hollow base bullet. They both run about 250, 260 grains. Shoots them both very well. I think I've shot some unique rounds through it. I had I have shot probably 50 or 60 black powder rounds through it with some probably GoX 3F or 2F, about 35 grains, I want to say, with both those bullets, and the gun shoots really good. Also shot some black powder Schofield rounds through it, also shot good. I believe the red dot rounds were giving me a hair over 900 feet per second, and I believe the black powder rounds were pretty close on par with that, so pretty close to the original loadings with a very vintage style bullet. Both of those, the Lyman Ideal bullet has been around forever, and The NEI hollow base, I think, is supposed to replicate the original 45 Colt bullet with the hollow base. But it's a nice gun. Don't really have anything bad to say about the gun itself at all, except for having to take a thousandth or two off the bolt. That did kind of worry me when I first got it, but I was able to rectify the situation pretty easily. Slick gun. Dixie Gunworks was really good to deal with. I'd recommend them. If you see something on their website, the transaction went really well and they got it shipped off really quick, so I wouldn't hesitate to buy from them again either. But that's about all I got on this one, guys. Hope you all have a happy new year.